Welcome to the season finale of Foundling Fridays presented by Cut the Sith. I told everyone to dress up and wear suits. Paige is the only one that dressed up and looks nice today,
Thank you.
including myself. I didn't dress up either because it's
I
hanging
said
on
that.
it's hanging on the door behind me if you can see it over my shoulder. My peacoat's in front of it. But anyways,
Hey,
season
I'm wearing
finale
a suit.
time. Yeah, you're naked. You're wearing your birthday suit.
Hey, you got it.
Season 2, Episode 8, Chapter 16, The Rescue.
Oh, the
And
rest.
what a rescue it was. Don't watch any further if you have not seen the episode, because I'm about to spoil shit in 5, 4, 3. Luke Skywalker came back, and that was badass. Listen, I told them
Yeah.
not to go in 4. I didn't say I was going to count the whole 5.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he looked weird with his CGI face.
Battlefront 2
fuck, I loved it.
Skywalker was great.
So, Paige, glad you brought that before I introduce you guys, because there is something I wanted to say. I've been for the whole time saying I did not want Luke to show up. I didn't want Luke to show up because I knew they wouldn't recast him. I also didn't want them to recast him, so I knew they were gonna do this creepy CGI thing. And I was like, I know it's gonna look terrible, and I'm not gonna like it, and I don't want it. The second he showed up, I felt like I was a child. I was like, Luke's here.
I bawled my eyes out.
I loved every second of it.
I bawled.
I was like, shut the fuck up, Colin, with your stupid opinions.
You know what it was like? Now that I brought up Battlefront 2, it's like when you pick Luke from the character select screen, he just shows up with the
Well,
cinematic.
Speaking of Battlefront 2, I watched the campaign for that
For the
after.
explanation of Operation Cinder.
Yeah, because I didn't know what Operation Cinder was last week, and I didn't know until literally today that you play as like Luke, Han, Lando, and all them during the campaign. I thought you only played it by Anniversary.
You know, you could have just asked me. I could have told you.
Yeah, I don't care. But here's the thing that's weird about that. The characters select Luke, and the Luke in the campaign look like two completely different people. The Luke in the campaign looks like a horrible cosplayer. It looks so bad. Anyways, Paige, how you doing today?
Very good, sir. How are you doing?
Doing swell. Steve, what about you?
Hanging in there. Glad I could make it to the finale this week. So thanks y'all for having me back.
Ryan, yourself? Ryan, did you die?
No,
I heard a thud. I said Ryan, and then I heard a thud. I thought you had a heart attack.
That was me putting my elbow on my desk.
Don't forget to press your life alert button. Alex, how you doing? All right. Let's get into the nitty gritty of this shit, people. What do you guys like about it?
I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, lots to discuss.
I was with you, Colin, about being super critical of it being Luke.
You had it spoiled for you today.
I did. And I stayed off of social. I was so good today. I stayed off of all social medias. I click on a link because I get emails like news articles and all that stuff, and I got one from Google News. So I clicked on it.
No.
Yep, exactly. Because at the bottom of it, it was like, did you see that Luke Skywalker showed up in this week's episode? And I was like, great. It wasn't Instagram or Facebook, but
I want to say Yahoo tweeted out an article where and I stayed off of all social media until me and Steve watched the episode. Yahoo, I think, tweeted out an article, and the headline was like, can you believe that this former Jedi returned? I was like, well, there's only one former Jedi that can return during this timeline.
But I was saying it to Colin during the group watch, like, for someone who's super critical of Luke, I was pleasantly surprised. And, had we seen the Luke that we got to see here, in my opinion, all throughout, or had we gotten just a little bit more of this Luke Skywalker, he would be in my top 3 favorites of all Jedis, because I was kind of taken aback and blown away by the fighting style. And then there was that one specific Dark Trooper that he just crushed, and I was like,
that was badass.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, I was so. As much as I didn't want Luke in there either, I was so excited to see Luke in his prime, just dominating. Because we never did get him in his prime. In Legends, you have it, because you have the the Thrawn trilogy. You have what's it, like Jedi Academy. You have all those books that explore his entire life. But in the Disney canon, you have he's basically a Padawan in the first one. He's learning how to be a Jedi in Empire. And then he becomes a Jedi in Return of the Jedi, or like right before Return of the Jedi. But he's still like in the beginning stage. Now it's 5 years past that. He's in his prime because
Yeah.
last time we see him, he was a retired old hermit that had already given up the Jedi life. And it's like, what the fuck? I just want to see Luke in his prime kicking ass.
Yeah.
And we got a hallway scene
Oh,
that was a
yeah.
lot like the Rogue One ending with Vader mowing down all the troopers and whatnot. That's a lot what this reminded me of, and I really appreciated all the cinematic parallels, like Luke framed in the door with his lightsaber drawn, all the smoke and the mist surrounding him and stuff. Definitely his father's son, I would say. So
I'm gonna make a note of that in my notes.
He like force choke crushed that
Yeah.
Dark Trooper.
You have to watch
yeah,
it
that was
again now.
wild. Yeah.
He
How
was like
about that force push with the saber, like in his hand? I really liked that.
when he pulled him into the saber.
No, he like was
Oh.
he did like a push, but the saber was still in his hands, and I was digging that. Yeah,
So cool.
yeah, it
Mhm.
was good. Just from the second we saw the cloak, like it chilled
Oh, yeah.
down my body.
Oh, the second I saw that lone X-wing, I was like, "Oh shit,
Well, you know what I liked
it's
more?
going down."
Grogu could feel him. Like I made a note that his reaction to not even seeing Luke in person, but just feeling him was so different than his reaction to Ahsoka. And I'm wondering if it's because Luke is an actual Jedi and Ahsoka's like not really, like she doesn't accept that part of herself. So I don't know. It was just very interesting to me how his reaction was so strong.
There was a part of me when Din was saying goodbye to Grogu. I thought we were gonna hear Grogu say his first word.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken. My heart was out of my body and on the floor.
Dude, that was so sad.
I was-
Neither of them wanted to leave.
Yeah, no, I was handling it pretty well right up until he took the helmet off and like
Oh,
little baby Grogu reaches up and touches his face. I'm like, oh my god, this is probably the first time he's ever had like
we
any
can't talk
touch
about
his
it. I'm gonna start
face in
crying.
like 30 years, probably.
And normally he leaves the helmet on.
Yeah, that was really hard for me.
Especially like when he was grabbing at the helmet, in
Mm-hmm.
my head I was just screaming. I was like, just take the fucking thing off. Like
Yeah.
you know what he wants. Why are you even screwing around right now?
He wants to look into his
Enough.
father's eyes.
Yeah.
Honest.
Oh God.
It's true though.
Yeah, I really like that, and I don't know, just how much he obviously they love each other. Like you can clearly tell that he didn't want to leave him.
Hold on.
Grogu didn't wanna
Sorry.
leave.
I
Mando didn't want to leave.
didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got a text message from Yona, who's currently watching the episode, and he just goes, "Freaking Luke."
Late to the party, bro. Late to the party.
And he's like, "Dude."
I had a whole page of notes just about that scene.
I'm gonna text him back. I know, with an exclamation point.
You should have said that's a swerve.
Oh, and maybe I'm in the minority too. Because first off, I didn't want Luke, but now that we have Luke, I'm glad they didn't recast him. I didn't want someone else playing him. That's the main reason I didn't want Luke, because I thought they would recast him.
Yeah, that was
We're
the
very
same
against
thought.
Sebastian Stan, by the way.
People
That's
only
all
want
for it.
Sebastian Stan because this part of him looks the same as Mark Hamill. Nothing else does. He's like he's 3 inches taller than Mark Hamill. He has black hair. He has brown eyes.
He's
you
a
have
lot
to-
more jacked too.
Yeah, you have to get Sebastian Stan a wig.
Didn't he get
something
Mark
that's like-
Hamill's blessing though?
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You need
Do you think Mark Hamill's
John
gonna
and
pass
Dave's
this up?
blessing. Thank you. But it's like you would have to give him either some stupid wig or make him dye his hair, which would look terrible too.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
He's
you're right.
38.
Logically, you're right. I just love
38.
Sebastian Stan.
He's 38, and Luke at this time's 28.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Luke's 20 during A New Hope, isn't he?
Ish, yeah, like 19, 20.
I googled how old he was during Return of the Jedi and it said 23, so I just added 5 years. So I was like,
Nerd.
all right, 28.
Yeah.
I also googled how tall he was, and it said Luke is 5'6", but Mark Hamill's 5'9", so I don't know how to believe that.
There you go, babe. Perfect Jedi height.
That's why I want to cosplay Luke, because I'm also 5'6". High fives.
There you go.
Short people. Steve's tall like a dickhead.
I can't help it. Drank my milk. That's all.
What do you want to do? Cut off his feet?
Steve's 6 feet.
Yeah, I'm about 6 feet. Yeah.
Him and Sebastian Stan could be
Yeah, you're
twins.
definitely in the top.
You're
Yeah,
so
that would be
tall.
like if Steve tried to dress as me. We're not the same height.
No. Very big
And
difference.
Steve's
They
more
could
jacked
fix
than
it
I
in
am.
post. I'm not jacked, but thank you for that. That's very flattering. No, but I don't know. I at first wasn't really that enthused about them doing like the whole digital face thing like they did with Leia in
Mhm.
Rogue One, or like they did with the both of them in The Rise of Skywalker. The only one that I felt like it really worked super well with was Tarkin.
Same.
Yeah, like with Tarkin at first it was like a little bit of adjusting. Some parts of it felt like I was watching like a Call of Duty cutscene or something like that. But like they fixed Tarkin up. They did pretty well. And so maybe it was just the fact that I watched it at like 6:30 in the morning. And my eyes were still adjusting. I was like, this does not look that good. But then in rewatches, I was like, well, that actually doesn't look too bad. That's like decent Mark Hamill right there.
When we first watched in 6:30, because I was too tired to leave my bed, so my bed's pretty far from the television, and it was like fucking 6:30, half asleep. I thought they recast him. I didn't even know that was Mark Hamill until you told me it said in
I
the
thought so
credits.
too at first.
Yeah, no, I thought that it was like, a voice actor or like a really good impersonator. I was like, oh, huh, that's an okay Mark Hamill impression.
I
And
see
then
him.
the
I go.
credits roll and it's just like, and Mark Hamill. I'm like, are you
I-
kidding me? That's him.
I see him. And I go. That looks nothing like him.
It's the body. They definitely had a body double for him, and
Oh,
just like
They
CGI
bodied
did,
that, and
yeah.
they had him wear like a green screen on his face or something.
Yeah.
All the little dots and whatnot.
He just,
Yeah.
you know what they did? They filmed it with the body though, and did, like the Snapchat filter over him.
Nice.
That saved them some money. They're like,
That's the
save us some money.
Mandalorian budget right there. Yeah. All the budget went into the Dark Troopers.
All the
which-
budget went into Bib Fortuna's weight.
No, we're talking about the Dark Troopers now, Colin. We're not talking about Bib Fortuna yet.
Dude, the Dark
Um,
Troopers are fucking terrifying.
They were amazing.
really
Oh
are.
my god. And
When
like
he's just punch him in the helmet.
Dude, that
and
was
just like wind up like
I wanted to see like the Beskar start to like scratch or bend or something, but no, of course not. This thing's fucking impervious.
or at least the T visor or something like that. Like
yeah, like give me a little crack or
start to
something.
splinter. Yeah.
There was a moment when they walked off. I looked at Alex and I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I was like, I kind of getting some General Grievous vibes for like 0.2 seconds. But I don't know.
I think Yona just got to the post-credit scene, which we can talk about later, and just texted me, "What the f?" Back to the Dark Troopers.
Yes. I really want merchandise of these guys because they look freaking awesome.
And you know
They
what?
look great. What?
Disney will give you that merchandise.
Please.
They will flood the market with it.
I thought that Mando Mondays were over and done with, but I guess not, apparently. So we'll see.
They're
How
gonna make
about
you
the
cute
part-
little Dark Troopers.
Cute little Dark Troopers. Okay. How about the part where they basically fly back in and somebody asks Fennec like how many life forms and they say none. And I'm like, oh god, they're all coming for you. Everybody's gonna die.
The squad's
Everybody's
back.
gonna die.
Like these fucking psychos.
I was excited when he pulled the latch and they all flew out. I was like, boop, that's it. Like I really did not expect them to come back in
I
this
looked
show.
at her and I was like,
They clearly were not built to outlast Jedi.
No, which is why I'm surprised. See, I told you they should have made them out of Beskar, because then Luke shit wouldn't have worked.
I mean, you'd also imagine that, like, with all the Beskar that they've been amassing and accumulating since, purging Mandalore and, like, doing all this other stuff, like, what have they been doing with that Beskar?
Hmm.
well,
They
clearly.
have
Paying
all this
bounty hunters,
stuff.
apparently.
I mean, yeah, but, like,
Selling it to Din.
you'd think that you could be using it for your own resources or something. I don't know. But
Well,
I
that
did-
spear was definitely resourceful.
I did like their plan to infiltrate the Star Destroyer or the cruiser, I guess. I don't know if it's like a full Star Destroyer, but what happened with Pershing? Did they just like drop him off somewhere or like turn him loose or like where was he?
Just like disappears at one point.
Yeah, I was gonna say they left a few things kind of up in the air by the end.
Unless
of
like
this episode.
they had like a, I don't know, Like threw him in like a holding cell or something, and him and Gideon just gonna both end up in like being in a jail cell in the like Rangers of the New Republic show together.
That would be really funny if like there was just a post-credit scene of Pershing in the holding cell waking up, and it's just Kara bringing Gideon in and like plopping him in the cell with them, and the both of them
Ara, Din,
looking very
Sasha
upset.
Banks,
Yeah.
Bo-Katan, Boba Fett all eating shawarma.
Shawarma.
God, no.
Well, now that Mando can take his helmet off, he can go and eat the shawarma with everybody.
So I won't lie, I did look at the Mois Pelgos thing because I like to get spoilers sometimes. And then all I saw was your cryptic meme about like, the Guardians, and then we were watching, I was like,
Well, even though it's a spoiler thread, Steve doesn't actually want to post full spoilers in there so early. Because
No, I like.
he posted something, deleted it, and then sent me it in a message.
Well, it was a message intended just for you, and then I was like, oh, okay. But I like doing my Mandalorian spoilers without context, like just to be. So, well, I hope you guys appreciate them.
Well, I was gonna say,
Like,
I was gonna say the two you put up today for that one, spot on.
Mhm.
Because I just thought I was being so fucking good today, avoiding all the goddamn social media, everything. Fucking Google, the fucking Goog.
why
That
did you
is really
wake up so
something
late?
That irritates me about
Shoveling from the bottom.
comic news sites and like all the pop culture news sites that have to be the first to report on this big thing so that they get all the clicks. It's like, oh man, did you see the latest episode with Luke Skywalker showing up? Oh, did you see the new episode with Baby Yoda's name? We can't call him Baby Yoda anymore. Also, Ahsoka's here. And it's like, stop. Just let people watch the episode. Why do you have to be the first to say
You know
it?
what? Actually, too,
Mhm.
now you bring up like the just mention of Ahsoka made me think of it. I think that's another reason why they may have not recast Luke was to avoid leaks because every casting got leaked.
yeah.
Ahsoka, Cobb Vanth, Bo-Katan, they all got leaked. If they
Did
cast
Luke
someone,
not get leaked? Or?
no, Luke never got
No.
leaked. People assumed it would be Luke because he was the only logical choice when they said that, like, reach out for a Jedi. But there was no confirmation that Luke was going to be in this season. At all.
Everyone was suspecting Mace Windu or Cal or
The people suspected Mace Windu.
Ezra.
I have a problem.
Ezra, yeah.
Mace Windu's dead. And he's fucking staying dead.
Sam Jackson doesn't believe so.
I really thought it would be Ezra or Luke.
No,
I don't think Ezra's going to show up until we find Thrawn.
I don't know that he's going to show up until maybe in the Ahsoka spinoff or something like that.
I think she's looking for Thrawn to find out where Ezra is. Like, Thrawn probably got back from where they are, and Ezra didn't come with them. So it's like, how are you here, and where the fuck is he?
I agree with you about that, but Alex thinks that Ezra has fallen to the dark side.
Well, I also think he's fallen to
I
the
was gonna
dark side
point
too,
out
because he's
something.
left for 10 years being tortured by the people that have captured him.
Jellyfish people.
What did you say, Ryan?
I was going to point out something that I wanted to talk about. How hypocritical it was of Bo-Katan with her Mandalorian custom of not taking the Darksaber, but she got upset at Din for not wanting to take his helmet off.
Yes, I did make a note about that too.
Also, the first time she got the fucking Darksaber was handed to her. So let's not act like she fucking deserved that thing.
Like,
Yeah.
Sabine was basically like, I don't want this, you can have it. And she had no problem taking it then.
Sabine is my rightful ruler of Mandalore.
Yeah. I was pissed. I was like, wait, what do you mean? She's a liar.
Me and Paige had been rewatching Rebels recently, and I forgot she had seen that, but she had turned to me. She was like, she had no problem with it a few years ago. What's the big dogmatic issue now?
I mean, maybe since then people gave her a lot of shit and were like, oh, you didn't actually take the lightsaber in combat. You're not truly Mandalore's leader because you didn't get the Darksaber the right way. Yeah.
It's basically like,
True.
yeah, they were all there. Sabine handed it to her. So she very clearly didn't win it. She did unite it. The people that were probably following Gar Saxon probably didn't follow her because, like, well, you didn't fucking win it. It just got handed to you. So Mandalore was not united, and the Empire wiped them out.
Mandalorians don't want handouts.
She needs to win it now because she needs to unite Mandalore because only united Mandalore can take back Mandalore.
Erica had suspected that maybe in season 3, like, not Boba,
Well,
Bo-Katan
that's going to be season 3.
and the Mandalorian are going to try and rebuild Mandalore together at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of have similar
I'd like to
thoughts.
see that.
Or that maybe they'll follow him because they saw how resourceful, I guess. Because one of the first things I said was maybe Bo-Katan's not really the right leader if she couldn't realize that Moff Gideon was going to be with the baby. Like, hello, of course he was going to be with the baby. Like, Din thought of that. If you guys went together, you could have fought him.
But what happened to that generic guy that was with her and Sasha?
Yes. Is he dead? Did he die?
No,
thought
I
he
just think he was just a
dropped him
generic
off.
man.
Okay.
I was like, oh, their generic boy toy isn't here right now.
I wanted to say one other thing, since we kind of are talking about the Darksaber. I had another kind of Rebels callback to when Din and Moff Gideon were fighting in the hallway, to when Kanan is training Sabine and says that you have to be a good warrior without the saber. And I kind of was like thinking that about Moff Gideon a little bit. Like, are you really that good of a fighter without this, Darksaber?
He's not.
No.
That's why he tried to fucking sneak attack him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, is Din an idiot? Like,
Why?
50.
anyone could see that this motherfucker was gonna stab you in the back.
He was
the
a little
second you went
naive.
for the kill.
I feel.
Well,
It was just like, I was
I
like,
thought
no,
he was going to kill the baby.
that truthfully,
He
that's
should
what I
have
thought
killed the
target
baby.
was gonna be. Especially after he made the comment like, "Oh, I already got what I needed from it." The child, like, I got enough of his plasma and blood. After I heard that, I was like, "Oh, this is it for little Grogu."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I
he
love
did
how
actually try to shoot him.
Yeah. I love how, like, there's all these plot hooks and him being like, now with all this blood of Grogu, like, we'll have the potential to bring about new order to the galaxy. And it's, like, very obvious that they're going to be siphoning this into, like, Palpatine's clone experiment on Exegol or whatever. But the Mandalorian's like, I
Oh.
don't fucking care. Like, give me the child back.
He's
Like,
like,
I literally
okay.
do not care what you have to say.
I didn't even think
I'm
about
just
that.
a man with a kid trying to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
He was painfully uninterested in everything else Gideon was saying to him, and all he could think is like, "Listen, I don't give a shit about the saber. Fucking
Give me
keep
my
it."
green Pikachu and let me go.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But I did like the from a different part of the episode. I did like the little sidekick fight. I don't know. I turned. I looked
Boba
at.
Fett is not a sidekick.
Boba Fett's not a sidekick.
Sasha Banks is a sidekick. So I was like, where do you get off calling Boba a sidekick?
It's like I turned to Paige and I looked at her and I was just like, I love Mandalorians. It's like any time you get more than like 2 Mandalorians in a room, that testosterone just
And then they got to
creeps
fight.
up on everybody.
I do like how the second Boba showed up, Bo and Sasha was like, you're not a Mandalorian. Because we've been told for years they're not Mandalorians. Django definitely was one, but they very clearly do not accept Boba because he's a clone. And fucking some of the people didn't accept Django because he's a foundling. So it's like, you elitist Mandalorians, this is why you guys lost. Because you have this fucking stuck-up asshole as your pretend paper leader. You need a real champion. Not Din, because Din can't fight for shit.
What? He got his ass kicked by this dark trooper?
No, he gets his ass kicked by everybody.
He does, though. It's true. Yeah.
Din needs to give that Darksaber to a real Mandalorian. Sabine Wren.
Oh,
Sabine
okay.
Wren, the true leader of
Thought you were saying
Mandalore.
Grogu.
What am I mad?
I actually would love Grogu. Steve, we should time skip and get Grogu back.
See, that's what I was wondering too, because like, is Grogu going to survive 2 Jedi Temple massacres between Anakin Skywalker and the Order 66 Purge, and Ben Solo becoming Kylo Ren, and tearing down Luke's Jedi Temple and like killing the rest of the students or whatever? Is Grogu gonna have to survive a second massacre?
I need to reread The Rise of Kylo Ren because I haven't read it
I
since
thought
it
that
came
was
out.
on our book club list, or is that not on our list?
It is, but it's very far away.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've been wondering too. He doesn't burn the temple, right?
No, that was like one of
Technically,
those. It was like some lightning phenomenon, like how Ghost Yoda called down the lightning to blow up the tree. I'm pretty sure that was like Palpatine or Snoke or whatever, like calling down lightning to blow up the temple.
Yeah, and then he just like ran off. He didn't kill any of them, and then they followed him, and then he
Yeah.
was like forced to kill a couple.
Hmm.
Maybe
But
Grogu will be strong enough to survive.
well, it's like I feel like this
Grogu's gonna be
episode
he's the hide and seek champion of the Jedi Temple. He's gonna fucking hide again
kind of, yeah.
and just show up again.
Listen, you
Really
gotta
is,
do what you
though.
gotta do.
He probably like fucking hides in a tree or something, like a Keebler elf.
So we talked a little bit about potentials for season 3. So one thread being the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan working together to try and rebuild and reunite Mandalore. The second being a potential time skip into like the sequel era where Grogu, has lost his master and like maybe now he's trying to find the Mandalorian or something. The third option, I couldn't really tell if the Book of Boba Fett from that post-credit
This is the
scene
option I'm buying into.
is that a spin-off series, or is Boba Fett now the protagonist of The Mandalorian for season 3 specifically, while they get all their other tie-in materials and all their other shows like in gear?
I think it's that because before this episode, it was announced Mandalorian season 3 was coming Christmas 2021. Then this episode ends and says the Book of Boba Fett, December 2021. They wouldn't put two Star Wars shows on at
No.
the same time.
Mm-mm.
And
I agree with
unless
you.
the Book of Boba Fett's going to be like only like a mini series that's like 1 to 4 episodes and then leads into Mando season 3, it has to be in place of Mando season 3, I would think.
I would feel the same way. Yeah, because I mean, we've also got like, I don't know when Ahsoka's coming out. I don't know when Rangers of the New Republic's coming out. Those are the only other 2 shows that are in the Mandalorian's like timeline, right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm
the only other
expect-
ones at the same time.
Did Kathleen Kennedy say they're gonna lead to some big thing, all these shows? Or
I read
people
this
just assuming
article.
that?
Money.
I read this article that's probably not like real or whatever, but it said that it would be maybe like end up being a Defenders type of thing.
Yeah, because that's what I've been thinking too.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people say that Kathleen Kennedy said it's going to lead to something like that, but because I never watched, we didn't watch that part of the investor thing, so I don't know what she said when they got announced.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she actually did, but yeah, it does seem like all of these shows, because they do make a point though that they're all set during this timeline. It does seem like season 3 of Mandalorian is going to be about Boba Fett. Then we got the Rangers show, which will probably be like Cara Dune and whatnot. We're gonna have the
And
Ahsoka
Tracker
show,
Wolf. Yeah.
and Carson, and then we're gonna have the Ahsoka show. Din could pop up into any of those shows, and then it seems like they're all gonna come back around like the Defenders or the Avengers, or like every single one of those Arrowverse crossovers, and they're probably all just gonna go after like Grand Admiral Thrawn together.
Thrawn feels like the Thanos level
Yeah, he's
threat.
gonna be the overarching villain that connects all of these shows into one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna see CGI Luke again. I just hope he leaves the hood on the whole time when they fight.
Yeah.
Just leave the hood. If he leaves the hood on, I'm fine.
I mean, they kind of played it. They played it relatively smart, in my opinion. In that it's like, okay, obviously in their heads they were like, to CGI him throughout this entire scene probably cost just a little bit too much for the budget.
I wonder how much.
They knew what they were doing. They had the hood on. And then when the hood came, they made sure there was a bunch of shots from behind him, so it was the back of the head.
And then you especially knew it was him because he had one gloved hand.
Yep. Which Steve explained to me where the glove came from.
Yes. Because Colin was showing me one of the toys, and he was just like, "I didn't."
Hold up. Action figure.
Action figure, excuse me. Where you had the 2 bare hands, and Colin's just like, "Where's the glove? I thought he had the glove in Return of the Jedi." And I was like, "Well, at first the robot hand had like fake skin, and then he got shot in the hand on Jabba's sail barge, and then he just put on the glove and wore the glove for the rest of the movie." And Colin was like, "Thank you. I know I could have looked that up, but it was easier to just ask."
It really is just easier to ask Steve. Steve responds faster than Google loads the website.
It's that supercomputer in my head.
Yeah.
It's got ray tracing and everything.
Oh yeah, ray tracing, baby. Love
Mhm.
my PS5. What else happened in this episode? There's so much shit.
I am trying to recall what else happened.
Stormtroopers being useless as usual.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they really. Someone said it about last week's episode. I either saw a tweet about it or was said in like a YouTube video.
Mhm.
They really took the idea of like the stormtroopers suck and then like quadruple down on in the Mandalorian. They make the stormtroopers look like they're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And they have like
Well-
zero training.
Well,
They had
I
that
mean,
one moment of glory.
the difference here is that they actually don't miss their targets all that much. When it's the Mandalorian, it's like all their shots hit him. It's just his armor is plot armor, and
Their shots will only hit Din and miss everyone else.
Yeah.
As this episode proved.
I just like to get punched in the face repeatedly.
There was
The
that
au-
scene where she's just bashing them with her rifle because it's jammed.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
they miss her every single time they shoot at her.
The officers, I feel, have been given a lot more character in this season, and they're much more compelling than like a lot of the First Order officers are written in like the sequel trilogy. Like the one taking his like electric cyanide capsule, the one doing like the Southern drawl when having the whole, drink with Mayfeld and Mando, and then like this one where you have the pilot that like
Ash
tries-
Windrider.
yeah, the Nash Windrider guy who like more or less takes Pershing as, a bartering chip and, tries lecturing Kara about like, oh, do you know how many millions of people died on those battle stations while the galaxy cheered? And it's like, damn, they gave these guys so much more character.
And you know what?
The
He's
second he
right.
said Alderaan.
Because not everyone on that Death Star was evil. Some of them were just hired to work. And millions of them died. And people were like, all right, well, that's fine. And it's like, is it?
Still depends on what side
That
you're on.
man had a family.
Sure. But I agree with Steve 1,000%, and I'm so happy that they did. I was a little. There was only one of them I wish they focused a little bit more on, and that's Gideon's number 2, that woman.
Yes.
I just
thought she was gonna be a bigger deal when she first
Yeah.
showed up, and then
And
she was in like every episode, every scene with him since then.
yeah,
And
and
then
it's
she like,
just
didn't
like
do anything.
yeah, it's such moderate little things, and I kind of wanted to. Like I wanted to get a little bit more background on her. Like I wanted to hear a little bit more because she seems younger than everybody else. And like, okay, she was probably a child of somebody that was an Imperial that obviously had gotten killed. Well, at least I'm assuming so. But I don't know. I really wanted to know more about her, and I'm kind of disappointed they didn't bring up too much.
And like when Team Bo-Katan took the bridge, I was half expecting her to like start monologuing or some shit. And then they just like took her out immediately, and I was just like, oh, okay.
That's like,
There's that.
see ya.
Bad bitch.
No, that's the one I was a little, just kind of hoping to get a little bit more out of her.
Mm-hmm.
Very good episode.
But apparently Disney knows best.
The
They do know
music was
best.
different too.
They do. Oh, the music was great this
The
episode.
music was so on point.
The intro was different, and then also the Dark Troopers like techno beats. I was like, this is great.
I was like, this is some Wolfenstein shit right here.
So one of the
Yeah.
videos I watched, because they were talking about how the end says Book of Boba Fett, and they were there as is Book of Boba Fett going to be season 3. They said that this episode feels like a series finale because there's no concept art showing at the end of the episode, and the ending music was different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, son. And they do. I know technically they've been hanging out with that like plot hole, that not the whole plot device where they want to go back to Mandalore. But Din doesn't actually give a shit about going back to Mandalore. That's like a Bo-Katan thing. So technically at the end of this episode, all of Din's like plot points are sewn up. Like his story's done if they want it to be done.
I mean, yeah,
It's not
like
going to. They're gonna bring him back, but it's
I
like,
could see it being done, but at the same time, I could also see him being really directionless, like an empty nester. Just like, great, my only son is like gone now. What am I gonna do with my life?
A
So,
real Mandalore with an iron fist and a black saber.
Yeah,
mhm.
I mean,
pretty much.
I think I agree with both of you. I think I wouldn't mind. I feel like on the vein of what Colin was talking about, like The Mandalorian as a show could quite possibly be an anthology series, like, you know, an interconnected, intertwined set of Mandalorians dealing with certain things. But
Mhm.
then I'd also agree with Steve, where I feel like I'd be a little let down if this was it for Din. It's like I know
Mhm.
everything.
I don't think it's gonna be it for him. I'm just saying that all of his plot points are tied up at the end of this.
Yeah, and it's I agree
Most
with
of
Except
them.
for basically getting his kid back, but he's not gonna get his kid back for a couple
Getting
of
his kid
years.
back, dealing with the fact that
That's
Bo-Katan's
gonna be
gonna kill
a
him
ways
to
down
get
because he has
his
to
sword.
train him.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it's just like I feel. What was that? How do I agree with Colin. It's like everything's done with him, and I feel like I said this a few other times, but like at the end of the episode, I feel like I had more questions than answers for anything. I'm
Mhm.
like, all right, obviously, if a Jedi, you know, in my mind, I was like, okay, if a Jedi does show up,
Mhm.
obviously Din's gonna give him over, and like, especially if it's Luke Skywalker or something like that, it's like, okay, Grogu will probably go willingly, and you know, Luke did bring up a good point. Essentially, Grogu's a WMD, and he needs to be taught, you know, how to hone that in and deal with that type of shit.
Mhm. Well, his words, babe, were he won't be safe until he masters his
Yeah, his
gift or
abilities.
whatever. Yeah,
Why can't his dad go and watch?
that's what I
My
said.
dad went to all my little league practices. I mean, listen, the whole no attachment thing doesn't work for the Jedi. It doesn't work for them at all. So he's already attached. Why Din's done. He's done everything he wanted to do except like raise this kid. So why can't he just go and just like hang out while Luke trains Grogu with the fucking dark saber? Like, listen, we don't even need to find his kyber crystal. My kid can have my special sword.
Maybe.
Miss that little green fucker.
Yeah.
But Din also did say the magic words. We will see. I
I'll
forget
see you
it.
again, I promise, or something.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
He
You don't,
Yeah.
you
did
don't
say
break
the
a
magic
promise.
words.
It gave me
Keyword.
vibes from when Anakin leaves his mother in The Phantom Menace was what it reminded me of.
Oh man, oh
God damn it,
shit!
Steve.
You're going Shmi route.
What?
We're bringing Shmi into this.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Oof. Mando finds him dead in a Tusken Raider village. I'm gonna be very upset.
Look, what are you doing here?
That wouldn't happen. He's too close to the Tusken Raiders. He knows
I
them.
know.
They're bros. Yeah.
They'll probably beat up
So-
Luke thinking he's being kidnapped.
And then when they hear his last name is Skywalker, they're going to be like, "Oh my God, we absolutely cannot leave this kid with him."
Oh,
They'll be
that's
like,
the
"This is
thing
the
too.
guy."
So Luke never introduces himself when he shows up, which is
Yeah,
weird.
no.
Yeah, that was very
Din gives the
strange.
kid to the guy, and the
Makes
guy
no
never
fucking
says his
sense.
name. He just knows
He
he's
could
a
have been a
Jedi.
Sith. He could have been
Because
a Sith. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Bo
he
knew
could've-
Anakin too, so if he said Skywalker, she would have been like, "I knew your dad."
I was
think.
kind of disappointed, by the way, when he was asked, "Are you a Jedi?" He should have responded like my father before me.
Yeah, that would have been clutch.
You a
So I
Jedi?
said
Not
to
really.
Alex, and it's probably wishful thinking, but you know, Alex posted this thing on Facebook the other day with basically like a made up scene between Ahsoka and Luke being like, he was good at the end, or like he saved me or whatever. And I was like, well, they brought Luke back and Ahsoka's around, so maybe we could get that
Oh,
scene.
they're
Like,
all coming together to fight Thrawn. They're gonna be fucking sword fighting next to each other.
you know,
That would
some
be
Luke and
wild. That
Ahsoka
would be great.
memories.
That scene, honestly, what's gonna suck is it's not gonna be as emotionally impactful as it should be with that weird, creepy CGI face.
Yeah.
He's like, my dad did return to the light.
It was truly a return of the Jedi. But
creepy.
damn, I lost track of what I was going to say now. Yeah, also interesting that Boba Fett wasn't part of the boarding party when Luke Skywalker showed up. They would have thrown
yeah.
some hands probably if they'd run into each other again.
Yeah.
Probably for the best that Boba left.
Mm.
Now fucking Boba Fett's the new crime boss on Tatooine.
Love that.
Gunning for Maul's territory.
I scan that scene because I don't know that part really.
Honestly, I love that. The moment I saw Fennec, and then you see the shadow, especially with I forget. I don't even know what you would call that, but
With the rangefinder.
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just seeing him, and then I thought, like, initially I was like, okay, what is he doing here? Is he looking for somebody? Is this, leading to some other Mandalorian thing? And then he just shoots him point blank and throws him down, and I was like, all right, we're in charge of
He
Jabba's
looked
palace now.
so badass when he sat down on that chair. I was like, all right,
Yes.
Boba's starting to grow on me.
And then Fennec coming down right next to him, like, all right, boss, who else are we fucking murdering now? I was like, all right, guys, let's do this. Let's get into spice. Let's get horrid. Let's get ugly. Let's do this.
I hope to God Hondo shows up and hangs out with these guys next season. That would be
I
great.
mean,
Oh,
he's still alive as of Galaxy's Edge, and Galaxy's Edge takes place during the sequel
Yeah.
trilogy.
Hondo's bullshit.
you feel my aching heart.
He's just gonna show up with some like, oh my friend, like this was a whatever.
My all-time
I seen a picture on Twitter. We need Jack Sparrow to play fucking Hondo Ohnaka.
I did see that too.
I also saw that.
I would just, if we get a live action Hondo.
Anyone can wear that makeup and whatnot. I feel like if you
No,
get
that
the
doesn't
voice
even
actor to
matter.
do the voice, like that's really where you need Hondo to come in.
Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if they just fucking CGI'd it and brought in the voice actor. I wouldn't even complain.
They could get prosthetics to make it look.
Well, they did.
Some wigs, prosthetics, makeup, whatever.
Yeah, weekways shouldn't be that tricky because like they've done a ton of weekways in live action before. So
Well, in the Jabba Palace scene, we got them. Like the aside from I always forget the name of their species, but the ones that look like pigs.
oh, the Gamorreans, yeah.
Yes.
And I mean there was also a weekway bartender in the Cobb Vanth episode.
Mm-hmm.
He was a pretty cool one.
Oh man, I hope Cobb Vanth shows up in the Book of Boba.
That would be
That's
dope.
what I thought that they were going to find when we found Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks.
Mm-hmm.
Would've been
I
more
thought that
helpful.
the canteen looked, similar to the one they found him in.
I'm hoping that
I'm just gonna put that there. They actually do have a Hondo Ohnaka costume at Disney.
Yes. Amazing.
Oh, look at that.
All right.
I love the look of that.
So they could definitely do it.
Side note, y'all, did we totally forget about the awesome R2 appearance? Hello. I wonder what him and Grogu were talking about.
Well, his beeps and boops were the deciding factor for Grogu.
Grogu's like, oh, if I don't come with you, you're gonna kill my dad. Fine.
Well, hey,
No.
listen, let's not pretend that R2 doesn't have.
You're gonna
probably
blow this
pretty nice
entire ship up? Okay, fine. He's just looking at Din. Get away from this fucking crazy robot.
Time to
Aren't
get.
you just like, wait, what do you mean that they have to scan your face now when you try and jack into the computer terminals? What's up with that? What's with this
When you
anti-droid
try
tech
and
coming in?
jack it.
Anti-droid tech.
I was kind of taken aback at. I did like it, and then I didn't like it. Like Luke's kind of, I don't want to say it, but attitude. Like,
Attitude?
yeah, like he kind of walked in, and he was kind of, to me, just a little too assertive.
A Jedi.
Okay, I know, but in my
I mean,
mind,
they all would have been dead in 5 minutes if he didn't show up, and none of them said thank you.
I mean, yes, but he also just walked in, essentially
It
looked
is
at Grogu,
weird,
and
though.
he was like, "Let's get going."
Yeah. At
Like,
least,
let's go.
hey,
Acknowledge,
my,
like, hey, this child called me on Tython.
my name's Luke Skywalker, Jedi
Yeah.
Master.
Credentialize yourself.
He reached out to me through the Force. I'm here. Instead of being like, listen, I'm taking him. And all I need is your permission, Silverman. And he's like, all right, you want to take my son?
It's like, all
Random
right,
guy with a green laser sword? Sure.
are you a Jedi? Yep. Come on, let's go. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Well, no one in Star Wars has ever lied, though, Steve. So that's a fair question to ask.
Well, this goes back to my other comment about, I have said this before in other meetings, do we think Din is a little Force sensitive? Maybe they didn't need to speak those words. Maybe he just knew it was safe.
No, because I think Din's too dumb.
Oh, and you just are hating on him, aren't you?
I'm not hating him. I actually like him because
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that's OP about him is his armor. Too many times in these characters are always OP. Din, the only thing he has going for him is armor. He loses that armor, he's dead, and I can respect that. A
Yeah.
man hiding behind his magic armor.
Magic
Plot
armor.
So his is Beskar like crack, where you can mix it with other shit and like weaken it, because he got pure Beskar. He got like the good crack. Does like Sasha Banks and them have like Beskar that's maybe like 50% Beskar, 50% like Durasteel or something?
I mean, they also have hand-me-down armor. Like,
Yeah.
Bo-Katan's had armor that's been in her family for generations. So is Sabine.
I think I would say, especially the two of them, it's probably pure. But like Steve just said, it's like, yeah, they're pretty fucking old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he is the good crack.
He has a brand new set of armor
Oh yeah,
that he blew his whole paycheck on. Yeah, it was fine.
Well, he gave some to charity.
He blew 95% of his paycheck on.
He gave some to the foundlings that the armor is gonna have try and kill him to get back the Darksaber. Because that shit's gonna come to head eventually, is him taking off his helmet and stuff.
Armor, just like, have you been good? Have you not removed your helmet?
She's, out of everyone in this show, she's looked like the most badass fighter.
That's probably the premise of the third season now, is he's going to get challengers for the Darksaber.
Including the
Like,
armor,
just
maybe.
fucking take it. I don't want to fight anyone. Are they gonna get pissed? Like, what if he doesn't want to fight them and can they just never win it? Is that the secret to keeping it, just not fighting people and be like, here, just have it for free?
I mean, they
It's like, I
can
have to fight
also try and fight him, but he has Beskar armor, so like not a lot's going to be able to cut through that. So
And Ryan,
Yes.
they can finger poke of Doom him. Can't like Bo-Katan just poke him and he's like,
He
oh,
already offered to do that, and she didn't want to take that offer.
yeah. So he's not gonna fight her, and she has to fight him. So it's like, what can she do in this situation? Because if she just like kills a man that's unwilling to fight her, it's not gonna look good either. So it's like she basically can't get the Darksaber now. If she's going,
Well, notice her
honor
words
code.
when. Sorry, Colin.
That's fine, I was done.
Notice her words when she's like telling everybody, like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Like, you can do whatever he wants as long as he submits to me. And just that
Mhm.
word submits makes you think, like, okay, what does that mean?
I've said it before to me and Paige, and it's like, I do love Bo-Katan. I think it's a good
don't.
character, but truthfully, I
Good
don't
character, terrible person.
Yeah, like I don't think she's the right person to run Mandalore, and especially Paige had brought it up to me earlier
Pre
too.
Vizsla was the last pure leader of Mandalore.
I'll agree with that. But Paige had brought it up to me too. It's like you weren't even smart. Like if you knew that you were supposed to win the Darksaber in combat,
Mhm.
why didn't you go after Gideon with him?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly. So that doesn't make sense. So what the fuck did she expect him to do?
So was the
'Cause if he
plan just
beats him, he gets
assuming that Gideon would be on the bridge when they took
Yeah.
the bridge?
Apparently.
It's
So
like
here's a wild idea. She got the Darksaber from Sabine. She did not get it through combat. What if she intentionally lost it to Gideon so that she could beat him and get the lightsaber through combat, which would legitimize her rule?
Steve, you may have a point there, my friend.
She's not
That's a very
smart
good
enough
point.
to do that. She's an idiot too.
Well, hold on.
Maybe
now.
she's a coward.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
She's definitely a coward, Paige. Good point.
Or extremely arrogant in her own abilities, because I fuck with what Steve was just saying. You know, like maybe she did intentionally just during the night of 1,000 tears. Maybe after a stalemate of a battle between the two of them, she just threw it down, and then she had to get away and couldn't go get it back.
Yeah, because now she's tricking her people into making her think that she's a good leader, which means she's not one.
Well, no, I agree with
Well,
you.
her face kind of gave it away when she was like, "What? You beat him?"
Yeah, it's like also.
Also, why is Din walking in there like, brr, like full out dark saber? Like, come
Listen,
on.
I'm telling you right now, the armor is going to be a great leader of Mandalore. We should all jump on the armor's bandwagon now. We want to be on the right side of history. I know we were all Team Empire last time. Didn't really work out that well for us. Team Armor is going to work out for us. So everyone, hands in to the watch. Hands.
My hands are not in.
Paige, put your hand in. Ryan, is your hand in? Steve, is
Mine's
your
in.
hand in?
Mine's in. Yeah.
Paige, put your hand. Alex, put Paige's hand in.
Can someone put a hand in for me too?
All right, 1, 2, 3 for the watch. 1, 2, 3 for
For
the
the
watch.
watch.
All right, there we go.
But
We got you right.
I would also like to see a bit of a dogmatic throwdown between Bo-Katan, the armorer, and then our dearest
Whoop
Din.
her ass.
See, I don't know, man. Bo's a pretty good fighter, but
I feel like the
see him
armorer
getting
would take her
involved.
down. Yeah, I feel like if it was between Bo-Katan and the armorer, it would be the armorer that would win.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
I think so too.
And she would do it without a blaster because she doesn't disgrace herself with
Mhm.
those filthy type of weapons.
Yeah.
She's more from a more civilized age.
What
Also,
I
it
want
was-
to know, you can go ahead, Paige.
No, go ahead. It's okay.
I want to know with the armor, does she take her whole creed of not taking the mask off so seriously? Like, say they do get into a fight for this Darksaber. If the mask gets knocked off, would she like relinquish the fight and like take that as a defeat and basically like commit seppuku?
Maybe.
Or maybe she would kill the attacker so that the secret dies with them, and then put the helmet back on.
See, that's
Also
not
true.
honorable. Then I would have to leave her team because there's no honor in that.
Mandalorians are
in
not
Ghost's
great
suit-
people, Colin.
In
This is why I
Ghost
didn't
of-
want to put my hand in.
Excuse me, Pre Vizsla was a great person. He
Yeah,
had
he died like a boss.
he had honor. He was 100% submitted to Maul when he lost that fight.
Yes, he did.
He was just like, well, fair game.
Yeah, he didn't run. he didn't
Only the
cry.
followers of Bo-Katan didn't have honor. The followers of Pre Vizsla and Maul, honorable people.
Yeah.
Well, and as much as I guess we can sit here and say that Pre Vizsla was an antagonist and everything, Pre Vizsla, from the moment it came out that he wasn't only, the governor or whatever they called him of Concord Dawn, but he was also the leader of the Death Watch. He was completely steadfast throughout the whole thing.
He was consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, he never fucked around about what his values were, and he stuck to it to the bitter end.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with Colin. He was the last,
The whole Vizsla clan, really.
yeah, it's like regardless of how antiquated their sense of honor is, they do have a sense of honor, and they do stick to their antiquated code.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, getting back to Bo-Katan being a hypocrite. So, first off,
Which she is.
she gets gifted the Darksaber the first time, so she doesn't even deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go into the whole thing about how the Darksaber is. Well, Gideon goes on to Din telling them how the Darksaber is going to prove is whoever wields it is the leader of Mandalore. She didn't acknowledge Maul when he was the leader of Mandalore when he
That's
had
what
the
I said.
Darksaber.
That's
Yeah.
right. She ditched him. Yeah.
So it's
She
like
ditched him.
she is.
She does what she
Bitch
wants.
about it.
She's been if we're going based on what all these different Mandalorian factions have their own codes and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
she's broken every single one of them for every single faction. She's the worst Mandalorian if you look on just basically how they act.
Yeah.
She only cares about herself. Fuck Bo-Katan. I hope she gets her head sliced off.
Which makes you kind of question like what Sabine saw in her, because like Sabine's mom like did what they had to do and like still like followed the Mandalorian ways about whatever. Like Bo-Katan sucks.
I feel like Sabine had a little bit of Din in her where she's like, I just don't fucking give a shit. I just
Yeah.
want to go
Say
try
that.
It's too
I
much
be my
pressure. I don't
friends.
want this. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Take this stupid sword.
Like they knew themselves. They're
Mhm.
completely self-aware. Like, listen, I'm not dealing with this BS.
You know what I would have liked to have seen? if Luke tried to take back the dark saber, because that was a Jedi artifact, and he's at this point is looking for Jedi artifacts.
That's right. Yeah.
If he's like, you know what,
For Battlefront.
that's a former like Jedi's lightsaber. We had that in an archive, and it got stolen by the Mandalorians.
Mm.
So I'm taking that back with me and seeing if there was some confrontation with this. Because you know what, Din probably would have given it to him too. I'm like, fine, fucking take it. Could
Take it back.
someone take this thing?
Well, honestly, but I feel like just like not to make a final time for this season of parallel to Game of Thrones. You know, Din is essentially. Well, hold on, hear me out. Din is essentially the Jon Snow.
He really
know,
is. Jon
he's
Snow
the
couldn't
one-
fight either.
He doesn't know shit either.
He's the one person.
Jon Snow.
Well, I agree with you there, but
Yeah.
you know, he's the one person that was fighting being a leader the entire time, and he's the one person, honestly, the person usually that is fighting to be the leader but still excelling at everything is probably the person who should end up being the leader
Yep.
at the
So-
end of the day.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, when he was getting his face punched in, it reminded me when the fucking mountain just
Oh
crushed him.
no! Don't remind me of that.
And I wanted to see the Dark
Colin.
Trooper try and do that, try and just crush.
It would have been
Which would have been
hilarious.
cool if the fucking thing
What did they do
cracked,
with this scene?
but his goddamn armor's impervious to anything. It's gonna be so awesome when something in the show finally cracks his armor.
Well, it's gonna be Beskar.
Yes, it's gonna happen eventually. There's gonna be a point. This thing isn't gonna be fucking spotless and scratchless forever. There's
Maybe
gonna
he's gonna
come
be
a
able to
point.
stab him with a spear.
That's
It's
what
gonna be the fucking. It's gonna be the armor with a giant like battle axe. It's gonna just like cut him right here. And it's just gonna fucking crack down. And I'm like, oh shit.
And he'll be like, you know, I thought nothing could cut through this, and she'll be like, there's a lot of things you still don't know. You're still just a foundling child or something like that. I
Still
don't
just
know.
a baby back bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she's gonna fucking
Exactly.
headbutt him.
Me and Colin are like on the same page tonight. No pun
Damn
intended.
right.
Armor is going to be the true final boss of the Mandalorian, not Gideon.
Honestly,
Secret boss.
it's kind of does seem that way because if they're gonna take back Mandalore from the Empire, they're gonna have to do it united.
Mhm.
And if they do it united, there's gonna be a clash of Din, Bo, and the Armorer for who's gonna basically rule Mandalore.
Mhm.
And
Battle of the Dogmas.
the clone of Darth Maul that Dr. Pershing's gonna introduce into season 3, who's also gonna be going for the dark saber.
I mean,
Don't even laugh, because George
Love
Lucas wanted to bring a clone of Darth Maul into the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, you're just trying to honor George's legacy there, Colin.
George wanted to bring Maul back, like everything.
Even at the end, the post-credit scene, initially, I looked at Paige and I said, oh, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like Dryden Voss or something they're walking up on or something's going to happen. So getting to Maul, yeah, there was a little piece of me that was thinking he could be involved somehow, some way.
I feel like
We
Dryden
watched
Voss would be
this-
too old by this point.
We just watched
And
Maul's
two-
death scene in Rebels the other day.
Dead
So
too, so.
got a little soft spot for him right now.
Ryan, you got anything else to say?
Yes. Where's 3PO?
Word.
We needed to have him translate what R2 was beeping.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit.
And let's not
X-Wings are
pretend that
one
Luke
seaters.
knows what he's talking about.
Love it.
Grogu was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And Luke's just like, oh, he's asking permission.
It's just like, no, that's really not what I'm saying.
He's trying to
Don't let
grab
him
onto him,
take
but the
it.
helmet's too like slick, so he can't like.
And Luke, you know, has plenty of experience listening to R2, so he's like automatically an expert in baby language.
Mhm. Well, R.I.P. Grogu.
But yeah, you heard it from me first. Season 3, Battle for the Darksaber. Whole theme of the series.
There's no way you were the first person to say that. I will
meant,
show
I
you
meant
like
here.
17
I meant
tweets.
here. You know I meant here. None of you said it. I did.
Heard it here first. Season 3. Red Chiss versus Blue Chiss.
One chiss,
chiss
blue
match.
chiss, red chiss, blue chiss. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Need to bring Deep Blue out of retirement for this.
I'm still saying it. Mandalorian
Obscure
season
chess
3 is going to be
reference.
Book of Boba, and Din's going to be off like
guest
Soul
starring in
guest
the
starring in Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic. He's
Yep.
fucking Oliver Queen at this point.
this is his Arrowverse.
Really is, and then Ollie died at the end. I thought my prediction was always this show would end when he gives up the baby because it's the whole story.
And now it's like, damn, he gave up the baby. What's there to do now?
And I didn't think it would go more than 4 seasons. I see it go. It's 2. Then we're gonna get Book of Boba. We're gonna have Din popping up in these other shows, and they're all gonna come back around for their big special when it's like Star Wars, Heir to the Empire.
And then we're gonna have Old
Thrawn.
Mandalorian. Forget Old Man Logan. We got Old Mandalorian coming
And we're
up.
gonna have Luke versus Luke.
Luke.
Luke? No.
And Joris Sabayoth.
No.
But
Oh, they can't do that though, because Maz Kanata got the lightsaber, right?
Yes, she did.
So they can't go and grab the lightsaber and hand him to clone him. Thank God. Thank God you did something right, JJ.
Luke is nowhere to be seen.
Good.
I was going to say, I do kind of, because Colin brought it up, I do kind of agree with the whole heir to the Empire vibe that I feel like Mandalorian has really been bringing up throughout the whole season. Like, I feel like even with the Taika, whether it's a standalone movie or a trilogy, you know, I totally agree with Colin that all of this is leading up to, you know, Thrawn is actually the one sitting there pulling all these strings.
Of course he is.
You know, and we're gonna have to bring Ezra back from the dark side because you can't
Yep.
tell me homie.
I'm
hasn't
100.
gone
Listen, did I
Maybe
tell you
Thrawn
my Ezra
hasn't
theory?
Hmm?
I forget who I sent this to in a Facebook message. I know I sent it to Dom, and this was like the longest Facebook message I ever sent someone. But my whole theory, and I don't know if I said it on here at all last week, my whole theory with Ezra is, so him and Thrawn go missing, right? It's been 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is that they had to work together. They went missing. They got stranded somewhere. They got captured by the natives, and they had to work together to free themselves. They do it. They end up sending a message to the Chiss, and they come to rescue Thrawn. And then, as they're about to be rescued, Thrawn turns and betrays Ezra and strands Ezra there alone. The Chiss take Thrawn. Thrawn uses the Chiss to get back to the Empire, and he's off doing his Empire shit now. And that's where everyone's like, well, and that's why Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn, because Thrawn's back now, but Ezra is. And it's like, well, how the fuck are you back? Where's Ezra? Is he alive? What the fuck happened? So she's going to look for Thrawn to find out where Ezra is. Whereas Ezra right now has been stranded on this planet, being physically and mentally tortured by whatever these native beings that have him, and they mentally break him, and he goes to the dark side.
We don't
And
know that.
then this group,
I have
well,
a
that's
theory.
why it's a theory. Well, this group of people has turned them into their own personal fucking Winter Soldier because they broke him mentally. So now they have their own dark side Force user as their own Winter Soldier, not played by Sebastian Stan. Which I have nothing against Sebastian Stan. He does not look like Mark Hamill the way people say he does. They just have like similar facial features, literally this. Everything else about them does not look anything alike. It's a terrible casting choice. That aside, Ezra, who's now Dark Ezra, is just fucking completely brainwashed by this group of people, and they basically use him as like their bounty hunter to go hunt on like their warring factions and shit. And now they have to snap him back to reality and break the Winter Soldier curse. And that's why someone's gonna have Ahsoka in a chokehold and be like, Ezra's alive. And then she's like, why'd you say that name? It's gonna all come together and they're gonna fight Thrawn with Dark Ezra.
Well,
Fallen Ezra.
what if reversely they're on this Alex, that face. What if in reverse maybe Ezra like saves Thrawn and is like, you go, like the natives are trying to get them both, and Ezra being who he is, you know, since obviously you say they bonded, maybe he's like, you go and escape whatever. Maybe he turns Thrawn and Thrawn's good now, and Thrawn sees the ways of the rebels or whatever and is like secretly going to try to help get Ezra back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just assume mine would be way more interesting than the two of them playing fucking patty cake.
Well, maybe Ezra goes to that like meditative state that you say that
Listen,
like
can we all
Vader
agree?
goes to and like Grogu goes to or whatever. Didn't you say there's like a meditative state that they go to? He's alone in his thoughts. Maybe he goes to this state.
Can we
Maybe
all
it's just
agree
more
that
powerful.
in one of these shows we need a Force Ghost Freddie Prinze Jr.?
I mean,
Force Ghost Freddie Prinze?
Yeah.
Be good.
He's like, sup, dudes? I'm 90s heartthrob, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh boy.
He's not as Kanan, he's as himself.
I don't know.
Alex can't hear you. All right. So, what do you guys think is going to happen on Book of Boba Fett? Because we don't have dates for Rangers of the New Republic or Ahsoka, yet,
No.
right? Yeah. So,
No, and the other stuff I want to say is coming 2022.
and we don't have a confirmation if Book of Boba Fett is a spinoff or if it is Mandalorian Season 3. So right now, the only thing we know that's coming is Book of Boba Fett. That's coming within the next
Wondering
year.
if he's gonna be fighting against other crime syndicates like Black Sun or what was the Crimson Dawn, or any of the other ones. Like, I wonder
Is
if
the
he's gonna
Crimson
be,
Dawn still around?
are they? I don't know. Like, I was just trying to name off syndicates off the top of my head, but like,
Just because we like Maul, by the time of Rebels, he doesn't have them. So, but
we're gonna get Aiden, what's his name, from Solo to come back as young Han Solo to fight against Boba Fett again.
I
listen,
told
wouldn't-
Colin
wouldn't
it's going to
hate
be an
that.
Ocean's 11 style season.
I actually
Mhm.
loved Ryan's idea.
He's going to be collecting all those rogue bounty hunters like Bosk and Dengar. He's going to form his own group to take on
One
these
last
other-
Oh,
job.
Dr. Afra should be in it.
Oh, dude, I would love it if Afro showed up in the Boba Fett series. So
The
bad.
voice actor who did her voice for Audible, Emily Wu Zeller.
She
I
looks a lot like
think
her too.
She
Yeah,
looks
and
like her, and
did a
she'd be like
great
the
voice.
right
Yeah.
age for where
Mhm.
it is in the storyline.
Mhm.
So yeah, just bring her in as Afra, because what if she's fucking stealing shit for Boba or from Boba?
Get
Because
Santa
Afra's
Staros
better
in
when
there.
she's on the other side of these people.
hmm
So do you guys think they're going to start, especially now with the Book of Boba, do you guys think they're going to start really heavily bringing back all these original trilogy characters?
I don't
hope
know.
not.
I hope not too. I worry a lot about.
The ones that I think needed to come, like Boba needed to come back because he was such a popular character. He had all these stories and legends that got decanonized,
Mhm.
and the only thing we had of him in canon was being hip checked by a blind man into a sand pit, and it was like, all right. So they needed to re-badass size him.
And make him credible. Yeah, no, I mean, they did a solid job with Boba. Luke makes sense. Luke wasn't how I would have wanted to do it, but I get why they did it that way, because that's the corner that they wrote themselves into.
Yeah,
But
see, because that's my thing too. I didn't want Luke at all. I wanted literally like any other Jedi. Luke's the only one that makes sense though, because
Mhm.
Ezra's like MIA. They're not gonna do Cal because it rips the ending out of EA. Like EA
they're
now,
not going to be able to do Kyle Katarn because they need a lot more buildup before they can bring Kyle Katarn back into canon.
so it's like, and Quinlan Voss is probably what, like 100 by now, because he was the same age as
Probably.
Obi-Wan.
And it's not
Who
going to be
else?
Ahsoka because she's got to
She
get
turned
ready
him
for
down.
Disney Plus's original series, Ahsoka.
And it's not gonna be Mace Windu because he's dead, and if he survived, he'd be like 150.
Well, it's also like, don't get me wrong, I liked Mace Windu's character. I love that he was critical all the time, but he has no place being in the show. Get out.
I feel like he might show up in Kenobi, if at all, but I'm still firmly of the belief that he died on the eve of Order 66. If he did come back, I could see him coming back in Kenobi, but like, no,
I
not
want.
any time beyond that.
Ooh. He's gonna come back and Boba Fett and get killed in the Book of Boba Fett. They're gonna bring him back
That
to
would be
have Boba kill
wild.
him.
Oh my lord.
I know it's unprobable, but I'd really love if they brought Rex back somehow. Wishful thinking.
I mean, I assume he's gonna be in the Ahsoka show.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
maybe. Colin, that'd be so awesome.
It's only been 5
I didn't even think about
years.
that.
He was in Return of the Jedi, and it's only been 5 years. So
Yeah, he's definitely kicking around.
They can't bring back Aura Singh because she got written
Well,
off.
the way they say it though, it doesn't make it. Like the way that they write that line is like, oh, you're the one that knocked off Aura Singh. He's like, well, that's what they say, or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
So it's like they could talk the way out that it's just a lie, and maybe she's playing dead or something. But they probably won't bring her back.
She'd be pretty fun. I liked Aura Singh. I would want Hondo. Hondo is my top choice for anybody to show up in the Boba Fett show.
Steve's
wouldn't
top choice
mind,
for Ahsoka's Barriss.
Oh, yes. I want Barriss in the Ahsoka show so
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
But even then, I think Rex is the much more obviously plausible one that's definitely showing up, because Bo-Katan even kind of drove the point home. It's like, oh, I know that voice. I've heard it 1,000 times.
Well, did you see the rumors going around now that Tamara Morrison's gonna play Cody in the Kenobi show?
Oh.
That Anakin's gonna have his own like troopers that are all former clone troopers. That's like his own personal like army, yeah, basically. Because like it's the evil version, and they're all gonna have like these black and like stormtrooper things armor that kind of looks like fucking death troopers and shit.
Okay.
But apparently they were like Tamara Morrison is gonna be like playing Commander Cody, who's gonna be the leader of them.
Oh,
I mean,
But I don't know how any of these rumors
that
are.
makes me sad.
While we're talking about these shows, I'm most excited, honestly, for Acolyte.
Yes, because I want some dark side shit.
Mm-hmm.
like I want more than just.
And it ties into High Republic. It's gonna be like about Plagueis, because right at the end of the High Republic.
See, I think the same thing, because I was going to say, I want more of the occult side of the dark side. Like, we got a little bit of it in Rebels with Palpatine screwing around with the world between worlds, but I want more. I want the dark side, and I want to see the people that aren't even, I want to see the fanatics. I want to see the people that aren't even actual force wielders, but, are the actual acolytes to all of this. Like, they are the people that will follow
Well,
to
Alex,
life.
Steve's mouth's hurting him, so he has to leave in a bit. So I wanted to ask Steve if he had anything he wanted to say before he gets off.
No, other than this is the why.
I'll ask you, Steve, before you get off. If
Mhm.
Acolyte is about Plagueis, who do you want to play Plagueis?
Ooh, good question. I'm gonna have to brainstorm that because you caught me very off guard with that.
All right, Steve, I'll see you later, fam.
All right, bye, fellas.
Night, brother.
See ya.
But yeah, we're still recording. We can still keep going. So Alex, continue your point. I just had to get Steve off because his mouth was hurting. He was messaging me.
No, fair. But it's like, yeah, I want that really dark occult shit to start showing up. Like, I want them to start fucking with beasts. I want to see Darth Tenebris. I want to see Plagueis, and especially because Plagueis, it's like, from a lot of the stuff I've read and I know about him, because I never actually finished the Plagueis novel all the way through, but it's like, to me, Plagueis sometimes wasn't even that dark of a dude. Like, he was shady and everything, and he did some fucked up stuff within, the whatever part of the banking guild that he was part of, but he was also like a real man of science.
Yeah.
Like, he really played more with the science side of the dark side as opposed to, hate and anger.
You bring in the whole bestiality. Oh God, bestiality shit.
Listen, if we want to talk bestiality, I have a whole folder.
Force using, force controlling beasts, whatever. No, it makes me think of what book we audiobook listened to with.
Is this her wolf porn?
No, we were audiobooking one of the books where it was, I think, like dark side users, and he controls this crazy beast in the water. No, it was like I think it was with Asajj maybe. And who was that? Her love interest?
Was it Dark Disciple with Quinlan
Yeah,
Voss?
so just like that scene and that being more current makes me think of like, what could we get into all the way, like back then during High Republic time.
That's what I want to see Quinlan Voss show up in Kenobi. So either Kenobi or the Bad Batch, because he could show up in either. The same, Maul could show up in Bad Batch or Lando or Cassian Andor. Because
I really like the actor who plays young Han.
Mhm.
He's in a couple things that I like, so I'm hoping he'll show up again.
He should show up in Lando. I'd be shocked if he's not in Lando.
They could always bring Kira back and have Amelia Clark come in because wasn't Maul
Yes.
what's the
They-
name? Crimson Dawn, right?
Crimson Dawn. There was definitely
Yeah.
supposed to be a sequel to Solo because
'Cause I liked it.
And especially what he said at the end, like meet me
Yeah.
on Dathomir. It's
Mhm.
like, to me, I was like, that's
Oh.
like, I wasn't super crazy about Solo, but especially when just the moment he said Dathomir, I was like, okay, can we get Solo too so we can go to the red planet,
that's
please?
the thing I want the most on Disney Plus from all these Star Wars things that hasn't been announced is either a Darth Maul show or a Crimson Dawn show, but something that bridges the gap from what Maul did between Clone Wars and Rebels. Because outside of that one little cameo at Solo where he says, "Meet me on Dathomir," where you find out he's the leader of the Crimson Dawn, we have no idea what happened to him between Order 66 and when he was on appeared on Malachor and Rebels. And
True.
in Solo, he's the leader of the biggest crime syndicate in the galaxy, and then
Yep.
in Rebels, he's like this disheveled old like hermit man on this like planet by himself, stranded.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Creepy.
how did there's a story to be told, and they want to tell that story because they wouldn't have put that scene in Solo if they weren't planning to tell it. So they can either tell it on, but with its own series on Disney Plus, or you can tell it in things like The Bad Batch, Lando, Andor, because he's alive during all of those shows.
Well, what
Ripping
about
each other off.
no. Me and Alex have this conversation all the time about how we really like Sam Witwer. He voices him in Rebels and like everything. Well, I mean, I just like him. So if they did do like a live action, like maybe they could somehow his voice is just so like just do it.
Just throw the prosthetics.
Well, because he was,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, babe, but they did throw prosthetics on him in Once Upon a Time because he played Mr. Hyde. So it's like he
Oh,
definitely.
that's not who you guys hate from Once Upon a Time. It was
No.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he plays the dumbass mirror.
I didn't know they were both
He
in it.
brought it back for me in tonight's episode with his, evilness. But yeah, I think they could definitely have Sam Witwer do a live action.
And my thing too is, I'm sorry.
Just Ray Park's body and Sam Witwer's voice just didn't really match up all the way.
No.
And like I loved that part. I loved that they had Maul in it, but it looked a little weird.
Yeah, I agree.
And my thing
Yeah.
is, listen, let Sam Witwer put on it like 5-10 pounds of muscle,
And he will.
teach him some karate, get him fighting with the bow staff, and
Yeah.
stop fucking around.
Mhm.
You don't even need to teach him. He have a fucking stunt double on the face paint through all the fight scenes.
Yeah,
But
it's motion
because
cap.
it's nice that they wanted to pay respect to both of them by having them in Solo. But if you do the entire series with live action Maul, the dub thing just doesn't look good. That's why Maul says like what 2 words in Phantom Menace because his voice is dubbed over. But then by the time we get to Clone Wars, Maul has like these monologues and shit, and we can't be having this dude have monologues with his voice being dubbed over.
Mhm.
No.
Is Ryan, you got anything to say before we head off?
Yeah, they could solve all of this by just giving me the dark saber.
True.
Would you take it, or would you want to win it in combat?
I'm with Din. I would take it. I mean, what do I care?
All hail King Lombo.
Why exactly would I need to win it if he's just like, here you go?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Guy
Bo
is
never won it.
handing over power
And then
without
he
there
even
being
said-
conflict.
Mhm.
and he even said, "I yield." Like
Yeah.
he didn't even give a fuck.
Yeah, so that's my biggest thing because me and Steve were talking about it earlier when we were watching is that the idea that because she didn't win it from Sabine, that like she didn't get respect of everyone on Mandalore, so they weren't united. So the Empire came after a
Still
Mandalore that was basically fighting with itself, and now Din could be the one to unite Mandalore if he wanted to, but like Alex said, he's fucking Jon Snow. He don't want to be king. He does not want to be king. He fucking
We all know
anyone
what
else
happened.
take this responsibility, please.
Yep.
So, anyone got anything else to say?
I'd say F Bo-Katan.
Mm,
Let's go
Good,
Din,
good.
Dark
Yep.
Saber.
all good points.
See what 2021 brings us.
Yep. Steve 2021 agree. All right, so that does it for season 2 of The Mandalorian. Hope you enjoyed. Join us every week for Foundling Fridays. We're still doing book club every other Tuesday, or reading club. And I don't know, once these new Star Wars shows start popping up on Disney Plus, we'll be popping these bad boys out more frequently. If you guys saw that goddamn investor meeting, there's gonna be a million of these things, and they look like they're gonna be adding more. So this won't be The Last of Us. At the very latest, you will see us again December 2021. May the force be with you.